The 2026 World Cup just kicked off across 16 stadiums in 3 countries. Most fans watching will see grass, goalposts, and 60,000 screaming people. What they won't see is that some of these stadiums are some of the most extreme feats of structural engineering on the planet. One of them has a roof made of a material thinner than a plastic bag that can support the weight of a small aircraft. Another can open or close its entire roof, a structure weighing thousands of tons, in under 8 minutes. One was built on volcanic rock so unstable that engineers had to invent new construction techniques just to keep it standing for 60 years. Another holds an official world record for being so loud it has been compared to standing next to a jet engine. These are not just venues. They are some of the most ambitious engineering projects in modern sports history, and 5 of them are about to host the biggest tournament on Earth. Let's go through all 5. Stadium 1, SoFi Stadium, the roof made of plastic that could survive an earthquake. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, cost more than $5 billion to build, making it one of the most expensive sports venues ever constructed anywhere in the world. But the price tag isn't what makes it remarkable. It's the roof. SoFi's roof is the largest cable net structure of its kind ever built, covering over 1 million square feet, roughly the size of 17 football fields. The roof itself is made from a material called etfe, a transparent polymer film that is remarkably thin, yet strong enough to be load-bearing across an enormous span. The entire roof system uses more than 1,400 tons of steel cable netting and approximately 3,000 tons of etfe membrane, panels, and supporting structure. Here is the detail most people miss. SoFi sits directly in the flight path of Los Angeles International Airport, meaning the entire structure had to be designed not just for weather, but for the possibility of aircraft noise and visual interference, while also functioning as a massive 13-acre LED video display visible from the sky. And because Southern California sits on major fault lines, the roof is not rigidly connected to the seating bowl below it. It is seismically isolated, meaning the roof and the bowl can move independently of each other during an earthquake, supported by 37 earthquake-resistant columns up to 100 feet tall. If the ground shakes, the roof and the stadium below it are designed to move separately rather than tearing each other apart. What makes etfe so unusual as a building material is that it weighs roughly 1% of what an equivalent glass panel would weigh. Yet it transmits more natural light. Around 95% of available daylight passes through it. That matters for the playing surface. SoFi's grass field is one of only a handful of natural turf fields in any fully enclosed NFL stadium, and it only survives because the etfe roof allows enough light transmission to keep the grass alive. Engineers also had to account for the fact that the entire building acts as a kind of climate-controlled bubble with approximately 3.1 million square feet of total building space. The interior air management system has to handle 70,000 people generating body heat under a sealed roof in a California summer. The mechanical systems alone cost more than many smaller stadiums cost to build entirely. The total construction involved over 5 million labor hours and required drilling foundation piles more than 60 feet into the ground to anchor the structure against both seismic movement and the compressive weight of the cable net system above. SoFi will host 8 World Cup matches in 2026, including a quarterfinal, all under a roof engineered to survive the exact kind of disaster Hollywood makes movies about. Stadium 2, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the roof that opens like a camera lens. In Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium solved a problem that had stumped stadium designers for decades. How do you build a roof that can fully open or close, not slide back like a sunroof, but genuinely transform the building from indoor to outdoor quickly enough that it doesn't disrupt a live event? The answer they came up with is called an Oculus design, and it is unlike anything that existed before it. The roof is made of 8 massive triangular steel and etfe panels, each one weighing approximately 500 tons, arranged in a circular pattern around a central opening. When the roof operates, all 8 panels move simultaneously along curved tracks, rotating inward and outward in a sequence that looks exactly like the aperture blades of a camera lens opening and closing. The entire transformation, 8 500-ton steel panels moving in perfect synchronization, takes less than 8 minutes. Each panel is driven by 12 separate 7.5 horsepower motors with fail-safe brakes, and a central control system independently monitors and adjusts the speed of every single panel because they each travel different distances along the track, yet all 8 need to arrive at their final position at exactly the same moment. The stadium also features a 360-degree video board that wraps the entire upper bowl, the largest of its kind in the world at the time it was built. What most people don't realize is how much the environmental engineering at Mercedes-Benz Stadium rivals the mechanical engineering. The stadium generates its own solar power through over 4,000 solar panels, enough to cover roughly a third of the building's energy needs. It also uses a stormwater management system capable of collecting and treating over 2 million gallons of rainwater annually, which is then recycled for field irrigation and toilet flushing. The 360-degree Halo video board runs 58.6 million LEDs across a screen roughly a third of a mile long end-to-end. Even the field orientation was calculated with precision positioned to minimize direct sun glare on players during afternoon matches, which matters significantly in a glass and steel structure that also functions as a giant greenhouse when the roof is closed. The Oculus, opening at the center of the roof, when fully open, measures approximately 65 feet in diameter, wide enough that on a cloudless day, natural light reaches the center of the field in a perfect column. Mercedes-Benz Stadium will host 8 World Cup matches in 2026, in a building that was the first sports facility on Earth to receive LEED Platinum certification, the highest possible rating for environmental sustainability in construction. Stadium 3, Azteca Stadium, the stadium built on volcanic rock that refused to sink. Estadio Azteca in Mexico City is, by a wide margin, the oldest stadium on this list, and the engineering challenge it overcame in the 1960s is arguably more impressive than anything built with modern technology. When construction began in 1962, engineers faced a problem that should have made the project impossible. Mexico City sits on a bed of volcanic rock and ancient lakebed sediment soft, unstable ground that has caused buildings across the city to sink, tilt, and crack for centuries. Building an 84,000-seat concrete stadium on ground like that, at an altitude of over 7,200 feet above sea level, was considered an enormous gamble. Engineers developed specialized reinforced concrete foundation techniques specifically to distribute the stadium's weight across the unstable ground without it sinking unevenly, techniques that influenced foundation engineering for major structures across Mexico City for decades afterward. The stadium also features a massive cantilevered roof structure extending outward from the upper deck, without support columns underneath both, to shade spectators from the intense high-altitude sun and to help trap and amplify crowd noise, giving Azteca a reputation as one of the loudest and most intimidating venues in world football. Over 800 workers, using 8,000 tons of steel reinforcement bars and roughly 7 million labor hours, built this stadium in under 4 years using 1960s technology. On June 11, 2026, Estadio Azteca becomes the first stadium in history to host matches across 3 different World Cups, having already staged the finals in 1970 and 1986. 60 years after construction began on unstable volcanic ground, it is still standing, still roaring, and still making history. The altitude factor at Azteca deserves more attention than it usually gets. At 7,200 feet above sea level, the air is approximately 23% less dense than at sea level. That changes everything about how the game is played. The ball travels farther and faster. Players fatigue more quickly, and visiting teams who have not acclimatized can lose up to 8% of their aerobic capacity within the first 90 minutes. When Brazil was eliminated by France in the 2006 qualifiers after a 1-0 loss at Azteca, altitude was cited as a significant contributing factor. Engineers in the 1960s had no obligation to account for this, but it turned out to be an accidental advantage that made Azteca one of the most strategically significant home grounds in international football history. The stadium has also survived two major earthquakes in 1985 and 2017, without structural failure, a direct testament to those foundation techniques developed over 60 years ago. Its capacity has been reduced from the original 114,000 to approximately 87,523 for modern safety standards, but it remains the largest stadium on this entire list and one of the largest in the world. Stadium 4, Arrowhead Stadium, the building that holds a world record for noise. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City doesn't have a retractable roof, a billion-dollar price tag, or futuristic LED screens. What it has is a Guinness World Record that no other stadium on Earth has ever beaten. On September 29, 2014, during a game against the New England Patriots, fans inside Arrowhead Stadium produced a recorded crowd noise of 142, 2 decibels, officially certified by Guinness World Records as the loudest crowd roar ever recorded at an outdoor sports stadium. To put that number in context, decibels are measured on a logarithmic scale, meaning every additional 10 decibels represents roughly 10 times more sound energy, not just a small increase. A normal conversation is about 60 decibels. A jet engine at takeoff from 100 feet away is approximately 140 decibels. Arrowhead's recorded crowd noise was louder than that. The reason this happens is entirely architectural. Arrowhead was designed in the late 1960s as one of the first stadiums built exclusively for football, with no open corners and no open end zones, creating what architects call an enclosed bowl. Sound generated by the crowd has nowhere to escape. It reflects off the steep seating tiers, bounces back down toward the field, and compounds with new noise being generated at the same moment, creating a feedback loop of sound that engineers in flatter, more open stadiums simply cannot replicate. The physics behind Arrowhead's noise go deeper than just bowl geometry. The stadium seats approximately 76,416 fans, and the seating tiers are deliberately steeper than most modern stadiums, which means spectators in the upper deck are physically closer to the field than in a shallower design. Closer proximity means sound waves generated by those fans travel a shorter distance before hitting the field, losing less energy along the way. The steel and concrete structure of the seating bowl reflects sound rather than absorbing it, unlike softer acoustic materials used in concert halls and performance venues. The result is a compounding effect. Noise generated by fans reflects off surfaces, travels back toward the field, and meets new noise being generated in real time. Acoustic engineers who have studied Arrowhead describe it as closer to a resonating chamber than a conventional outdoor venue. There is also a documented psychological effect. Visiting teams in the NFL have a measurably lower third down conversion rate at Arrowhead compared to their own stadiums, which analysts attribute partly to communication breakdown at the line of scrimmage, when noise levels make it impossible for quarterbacks and linemen to hear each other. For a World Cup, where players are communicating positional instructions constantly, that same acoustic environment could prove decisive. Arrowhead will host 6 World Cup matches in 2026, including a quarterfinal. Every single one of those matches will take place inside a structure that by design turns crowd noise into a physical force. Stadium 5, NRG Stadium, the roof that beat Texas heat. NRG Stadium in Houston solved a problem that is uniquely Texan. Houston summers regularly exceed 95 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity levels that make outdoor events genuinely dangerous for both players and fans. When NRG Stadium was completed, it became the first stadium in NFL history to feature a retractable roof, a title that seems almost unremarkable today. But at the time, required engineers to solve a problem nobody had solved before. How do you build a structure massive enough to fully enclose a football field, strong enough to withstand the wind loads of Gulf Coast storms, but light and balanced enough that the roof panels can actually move on tracks without the entire structure flexing or warping? The solution involved massive steel trusses spanning the width of the stadium, supporting roof panels that retract along rails to either fully open the stadium to the sky or fully enclose it in a climate-controlled environment within minutes. For the 2026 World Cup, this engineering becomes directly relevant. Matches played in Houston during the tournament can be moved entirely indoors, with full air conditioning, regardless of what the Texas summer is doing outside. The numbers behind NRG's climate control system are genuinely staggering. The stadium uses a cooling system capable of delivering 8,500 tons of air conditioning, not just for comfort, but for player safety. FIFA has strict wet bulb globe temperature thresholds, above which matches cannot be safely played. Houston in June and July regularly approaches or exceeds those thresholds in outdoor conditions. Without a functional roof and HVAC system, several of NRG's scheduled World Cup matches would require either a cooling break mandated under FIFA's heat protocols or outright postponement. The retractable roof itself consists of 2 panels, each weighing approximately 2,900 tons. That slide along fixed steel rails spanning the width of the structure. When fully closed, the roof seals a volume of approximately 1.8 million cubic feet of air that the HVAC system then has to cool from outdoor temperatures, sometimes exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit, down to a comfortable 68 to 72 degrees, a temperature drop of 30 degrees or more, sustained for the duration of an event. The entire system was designed and engineered without a direct predecessor. Engineers at the time were solving a problem that had never been solved at this scale. Every retractable roof NFL stadium built after NRG learned from its engineering, its failure points, and its successes. NRG Stadium will host 7 World Cup matches in 2026, and unlike most of the world's football fans, nobody inside NRG during those matches will be sweating through their shirts in 100-degree heat. 5 stadiums. 5 completely different engineering problems. A roof that has to survive an earthquake. A roof that has to transform itself in under 8 minutes. A foundation that has to hold against ground that swallows buildings. A bowl shape that turns sound into a recorded world record. A climate system that has to beat one of the hottest cities in North America. None of these problems existed in the early days of stadium construction, when a stadium was just a bowl of concrete with seats. Every one of these 5 buildings represents decades of engineering evolution, each new stadium learning from the limitations of the ones before it, and each one pushing the boundaries of what a stadium is even capable of being. If you made it this far, you now know more about the engineering behind these stadiums than most of the people who will be sitting inside them this summer. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're covering more incredible engineering stories throughout the World Cup. Now I want to know, out of these 5, which engineering feat impressed you the most? The earthquake-proof roof at SoFi? The 8-minute transforming roof in Atlanta? Or Arrowhead's world record for noise? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one.